I want to bring forward Jordan Hora, who is our moderator today. I want to say, y'all, she is a quiet storm. You know I'm going to do it. She's a quiet storm, a global voice in the PR, public relations, marketing, communications space. I'll let her tell more about what she does, but she is going to be facilitating this conversation that I feel like all of us are on this journey together learning, like, what's next in the area of finance, investing, cryptocurrencies, digital currencies, NFTs, all these acronyms that we're hearing on social media. What actually are there? And she's going to be bringing that out, the conversation out today, and making it relatable for all of us to learn together. So I want to give it to you and get out the way and get me some tacos and take over our conversation from here. So thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Jordan Hora, and I am honored to be your moderator tonight for Crypto in Color. Just a little bit about me. I am a global communication strategist, and I do work for some amazing individuals around the globe and here in Dallas. But I just wanted to thank you guys for taking the proper precautions and being here and investing in yourselves. Like Ben said, this event is one of a series of events that will happen throughout 2022. And so you guys are in for a treat. We have some forward-thinking, high-impact individuals to help us walk through cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, and all the definitions. I will serve as like your guide. I'm sure we have a lot of experts in cryptocurrency here and a lot of novices. I am one of them. And so thank you for taking the time to invest in yourself. I think that this is a relevant conversation because the University of Chicago actually just released a study that said more than 1 in 10 Americans actually invested in crypto just last year alone. So without further ado, I wanted to bring up our amazing panelists. Oh, and let me just say that this is a conversation. We're going to talk with the panelists for a little bit, and then I definitely want to leave about 15 or 20 minutes at the end of the conversation for your questions. I know I might not cover everything, and so as we're having a conversation, please be thinking of questions or topics or categories that you want to bless the conversation with. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up our first panelist. I'd like for you to meet Xavier Miller. He is an entrepreneur, an investor, and a podcast host. He is an expert at creating financial wealth, and he is the founder of the Millionaire Mindset Academy. Welcome to the hot seat.
Thank you.
And last but not least, we have dynamic Michelle Williams. She actually is the executive director of Fintech in Action, where she is passionate about bridging the diversity and wealth gap within the fintech industry. Welcome, Michelle. All right, cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
Digital currencies. So the future is here, and we don't have flying cars, but we have virtual currency. So just to kind of like level set, there's a lot of definitions for the average person: Bitcoin, blockchain, NFTs, Dogecoin, crypto exchanges. What exactly is a cryptocurrency, and what does it mean to either use or own cryptocurrencies? Can y'all hear him? A little bit here. Yeah.
So it's just pretty much, it's a digital currency. Like you guys pretty much know, everything is digital these days. Like everything we do is digital. But the more important part of crypto is a way to give power back to the everyday consumer with control of their dollars. As you all know, using a bank account, you truly don't have control of your own money. Your stuff could be frozen, taken away at any moment's notice. So the real reason for crypto and why it was created was to give power back to the everyday person with controlling their money. So that's pretty much the main usage of it.
Yeah, to piggyback, no, I have one. I think you do too. Check, make sure it's on.
It's on.
Oh, okay. So cryptocurrency, I think that people get caught up on the word currency. It's a digital asset, right? So think about any other asset like a house or a piece of art, right? cryptocurrency is a digitized asset that's backed up on blockchain technology. So it's basically encoded with a string of data that can trace where the money is, where it's or where the asset is, where it's going. And it increases or decreases in value basically based on demand. Okay. So the more people are buying it, the more they're interested in it, the higher the price is gonna go. The more that people are selling it, you're gonna see a drop. It's one of the most volatile assets, but it's an asset all the same.
Gotcha. So, and when you said blockchain technology, so I think, is that a way for it to not be centralized like money? Is that one of the reasons why it's so popular, and is this a good investment?
I wouldn't say that that's the reason why it's so popular. So like Xavier said, cryptocurrency was really created for two reasons. One was to give power back to people, but also it's a way to transact. Think about old school bartering systems, right? Like, I got 3 bags of sugar. You have 2 bushels of corn. I want to trade my sugar for your corn. Okay. So cryptocurrency is also a way to transact outside of like the traditional financial institution, right? So you don't need a credit score. You don't need any of the traditional barriers that specifically for people like us that we technically tend to run into. You don't run into those specific barriers with cryptocurrency. If you have the money to purchase the asset, then you can do exchanges through that. Blockchain is what it's built on. So blockchain is the ledger that records all of the transactions through cryptocurrency. It's a peer-to-peer network. Let me know if I'm like doing too much, right? It's a peer-reviewed network, and so the thing that makes cryptocurrency safe, for lack of a better word, is the fact that you have thousands, hundreds of thousands of technologists that can actually go and look in the back end of whatever platform that it's trading on and see the validity. They can see hacks, they can see if there's something that's gonna be like unstable within the blockchain. Okay. And so because it's like kind of like an open source technology, it allows, one, for things to be built on top of it, data to be measured in a certain way, but also it provides a certain sense of protection that, like Xavier says, the bank doesn't have. If your bank closes tomorrow,
right.
FDIC insures the bank. FDIC, they insure the bank. They don't insure y'all. Like, remember when the economy crashed, a lot of people lost a lot of money. People were committing suicide because they lost money. They weren't just committing suicide because the bank failed. It's because they lost all of their wealth.
Can you talk about the correlation between cryptocurrencies and an NFT and what makes an NFT valuable? For a show of hands, you guys know what an NFT is, I'm sure? Yes. Great, okay.
Fantastic.
Also, well, this is just show of hands. Who would consider themselves like a crypto beginner, novice, learner, observer? Oh, wonderful.
Wait.
Okay,
so this is beginner?
Yeah. Okay, so show of hands, who would consider themselves like, I'm an investor, I'm somewhat knowledgeable, and I'm on my way to kind of being an expert? Okay. So can you talk a little bit about NFT, what it means, and why are they so popular, and what makes it so valuable, seemingly?
So I'm gonna be short on this because I'm not a big fan of NFTs, at least not right now.
Why not?
Just because, in my opinion, like, crypto makes sense to me. I see, I understand it. It makes sense to me. It's a no-brainer in my opinion. With NFTs, at least in my opinion, it's hard for me to assess the value. It's like, what is this truly worth long-term? Because I'm a long-term investor with anything. And with NFTs, a non-fungible token, a lot of these things are just pictures. It's like, with me, I get it, but it don't make sense as an investment to me. At least not yet. So that's just my opinion on NFTs. I'm all in on crypto, but with NFTs, I'm still standoffish, at least for the moment. It might change in a month, 3 months from now, but right now, I'm like, it really don't make sense to me. I know a lot of people making a lot of money with it. Like, I got a close friend, she flipped a $20,000 NFT to $170,000 in 2 months. But it's still like, okay, why did that go up in value?
Yeah, Michelle, can you talk a little bit about what exactly is an NFT and how they're valuable? Because like Xavier said, I see a lot of people using them to buy art or collectibles or music, or trying to, take back footage that, they created that has just gone viral. Yeah. What exactly is it, and why do you feel or not feel that it's valuable or it has value?
Yeah, so NFT stands for non-fungible token, which essentially means something that can't be duplicated, or there's a very limited amount of whatever the thing is. And it's usually used to represent like art, music, something that exists, right? But there's a digital version of it. And so to Xavier's point, it's like, well, actually, let me take a step back. How many of y'all collected like baseball cards when you were younger, or basketball cards when you were younger, okay? Somebody tell me, why was a specific baseball card or basketball card valuable?
Because it was very few produced.
Exactly. That's why NFTs are valuable. So if you think, it's like collecting art, right? If you have a piece of art by your favorite artist, by Basquiat, right? If you own a Basquiat, if you bought a Basquiat in the 60s or 70s, right? Dude was on the sidewalk, like creating art. It had a different value than it has now. The reason why it has a different value now is because it's rare, it's a collector's item. So the best way that I can describe NFTs is think about it like a collector's item. The value of a collector's item, to Xavier's point, is really up to you, right? Like, you decide the value, but again, supply and demand. If you think that it's worth this, but 150 other people think that it's worth this, then it's gonna raise the price of that asset. All of these things, it's literally playing off the basic supply and demand and scarcity, like value of a thing. So NFTs, the thing that I think trips people up is that when we think of art or digital art, we think of like a GIF, right? Something that you see, you send it to your friends when you're in a group chat, right? The thing with NFTs is, again, it's encoded. The authenticity is encoded. So think about a designer purse. The way that you can tell that it's authentic is that it has like the serial number imprinted into the purse. An NFT has encrypted into the actual digital asset the authenticity code, which says you specifically own this asset, and it doesn't matter how many screenshots people took of it, it's not going to be encrypted with that specific piece of authenticity code.
So I hear there was a story that came out today of the father of the young woman who was killed on news, and he's trying to make, you know, that video footage of her murder an NFT. So if people go on YouTube, you know, you're met with copyright issues and things like that, like somebody would by using music or a movie scene illegally or something like that.
I think it's a really good way to protect. I mean, that's a really tragic, right, example, but one of the things that really bothers me is how much, and I had never thought about that, but how much like we make it regular to see Black bodies killed on social media feeds, like how it desensitizes us. And so I think that is it's a good way to protect the value of the life that was lost, to not trivialize it in a way, so I think that's cool.
I'd like to talk a little bit about generational wealth and the wealth gap that exists. Think about this. African Americans hold just 3.8% of the $116 trillion in wealth in the United States. Time Magazine, Yahoo News, and Forbes are among the many outlets who've all reported on the rising interests of Black and brown investors investing in cryptocurrencies, implying that it could be a way to close the racial wealth gap. I'm sure you guys have all thought about that as you were investing or thinking about investing in cryptocurrencies. Is this a fair assessment? Is it fair to look at crypto as a way to close the generational racial wealth gap?
Yeah, I don't know if I have an answer for that. I think that it's like any asset. Let me rephrase this. I'm an investor in cryptocurrency because I believe that it's gonna, my investment, my asset is gonna increase in value. But I want us to be very honest with ourselves that any investment comes with risk. And cryptocurrency is one of the most volatile assets that you can invest in.
Say that again.
Right? It is. Like, that's why it goes up and it goes down. It's a volatile asset. And so if you're looking to mitigate your risk, then there are other things that you can invest in, right? But there's an opportunity cost to that, right? If you invest in something that's less riskier, you're usually gonna have less return on it. If you invest in something that's more risky, then you have the opportunity to get a greater return on it. I can't say, and I won't say because I'm not a financial advisor, and I work for a finance company, so I can get sued. I can't say that cryptocurrency is the tool, the silver bullet that's going to save Black America. However, it is an asset with a very low entry point.
Barrier to entry.
Yeah. So I say take that information and do with it what you will.
Xavier, what do you think? I like the phrase that Michelle said, like, is crypto, is investing in Bitcoin, are digital currencies a silver bullet to help kind of close that racial wealth gap? What do you think?
I love everything Michelle said, first of all, but I would say I think it can be. I can't say it will. I think it can be, but I think what people got to understand is if it is going to happen, it's going to take time. It's not going to be overnight. Like, we're still extremely early in this crypto space. Last time I looked up, it said 2 out of 10 Americans own crypto. And I think globally, it was like 1%. So people, with that being said, people got to understand that we are extremely, extremely early. So if you're going to invest into this, like Michelle said, first you got to understand it's going to be a high level of risk. And secondly, is it's not going to happen overnight. Like, it's not going to grow your pockets overnight. It might take 10, 20 years. Like, my goal, I've been in since 2017. It'll be 5 years in the summertime. And I got in, and I said, I'm going to wait until 2030. I know how early I am. 2030, I'll be able to assess what I'm going to do, like, moving forward. So that's just how I look at it. I think it can potentially help close it, but it's just going to take time. And it got to take consistency with the people that actually believe in it when it comes to investing with understanding the risk.
So can you talk so you've been investing in crypto for about 5 years now. Can you talk without like opening up your portfolio and talking about this specific investment, but can you talk a little bit about what companies, what coins, what, areas were you looking at, and like what made you decide to say, okay, I'm going to go with Dogecoin, or I'm going to go with X?
So I don't mess with Dogecoin. I made a little money with Dogecoin, but it has no use case. It's pretty much like I don't want to say a scam, but hey.
But there are a lot out there. So exactly, like, how did you decide? How were you able to decipher, okay, this is good, this isn't, like, this is for me, this is legit? Okay. What was that process like for you?
So what I do, we got access to the internet. It's like easy to like look up things. So I get on Google, YouTube, and I'll read for at least 2 weeks before I make an investment. I do a lot of research. What's the use case? What's the does it have a community behind it? Are people supporting it? What do people think about it? All those things played a major factor into me, and that's how I got into Bitcoin. I heard a lot about it. Initially, I thought it was a scam. I'm like, this sounds kind of crazy. And then I just kept looking into it. And like I said, it kind of made sense to me over time. Like, wait, this really makes sense. Everything is going digital. But to answer your question, it just comes down to research. Like, there's no, like, they have the white list. You can look up the people, white papers. That's the way to find out good information about a coin. Like, what's a coin about? Like, if there's no white papers, or if the white papers is some BS, I would say, that's like the quickest way to find out, is a coin really going to be valuable in the future? But it just
scholarly written, like, journals.
Yeah. Like a real team. It's not any like just fluff behind it. A real team, a real people, a real community that actually supports the coin. And those are all like quick things that you could easily look at, even if you're a beginner, where you can kind of get an idea on, is this coin valuable and will it be valuable in the future?
Michelle, do you want to tackle that? Because I know that you...
I agree with everything you said. Y'all, we're going to have to read more. Like, so I work for Fintech in Action, which is owned by a custody and clearing firm called Apex Fintech Solutions. And so what we do is we do essentially like the back end of retail trading transactions. It's one of the things that we do. We do a lot of different things in Fintech. And we are making a lot of money, but we're losing a lot more money because we're trendy investors. Right, we're investing based on what we see on TikTok, based on what we see on Twitter. We're not taking the time to actually research the validity of the thing that we're putting money in. If I walked up to you and I was like, yo, give me $5,000, you would be like, for what? I'd be like, I can flip it for you and I can give you 10. And you would ask me a lot of questions. So why are we putting money in an asset that we haven't asked any questions? We ain't done no research. We ain't read no papers. We just saw somebody on TikTok talk about how they made some money, which is true. But I can tell you that all day. You don't know me from anyone, right?
I think that's a really good point because, at least for me, learning more about our history, learning more about how we've constantly, and when I say we, I mean like most Black and brown Americans, like we've constantly been shut out of a lot of financial opportunities and growth opportunities. And so when I see this thing kind of trending, when I see my people kind of jumping on, it's like, okay, well, maybe that's something that I can trust. I trust my community. And so to your point about us being trendy investors and using TikTok or social media or other non-scholarly reviewed, outlets to make our decisions, I think that's probably one of the reasons why.
Yeah. We, as a people, we're extremely eager because like you said, we was denied access to a lot of opportunities. So now that we have it, it's like, especially with social media, it makes it much more extreme. It's like we go all in. And a lot of times the investments we get in on are pretty bad investments.
Yeah.
And then even if it's not a bad investment, if it's a good investment, when it go bad, we jump out. So that's like I noticed that a lot with many people, especially younger people.
Yeah. I mean, the rule of investing is you want to buy when it's on sale. So if everyone is talking about a thing, it's probably too late for that entry point. And that's what happened with Dogecoin with a lot of people. They heard about it shooting up, right? So they invested at the top of the market, and then it can only go down from there. And that's what's happening with a lot of these investments, is that we're not taking the time to actually just even look at the 1 year span. You'll be able to see that it's a volatile asset, that it goes up and down, and even ask ourselves okay, if this thing is at $65,000, and it's never been this high before, is now the best time to invest? Or is the likelihood based on the past years of existence since it originated, does it educate us to the fact that it's probably gonna go down? It might go back up, but it probably will go back down, and it will keep going like that, which means that there's an opportunity for you to get in at a lower rate, which increases the amount of money that you can get. So yeah, we just gotta do a little bit more research.
We definitely have to do more research. And this is a quick story. This is how I really got sold on crypto. So when I first got in, I was overseas in Doha, Qatar. And then that's when I was in the military at the time. I was deployed. So I got in summertime 2017. I came back to the States. I was living in Cali at the time. I wasn't living too far from Silicon Valley. And Silicon Valley will always have these events going on. So I seen they had a crypto event, and it was they had all the big major Chinese media outlets at the event. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna attend. So I went. It was about 2,000 people in the event. So as soon as I walked through the door, all the cameras, they get the flashing pictures crazy. I'm like, man, why they taking pictures like I'm a celebrity, so don't nobody know me. So come to find out, as I'm looking around the event, I'm literally the only black person in the event, the only one. It's 2,000 people here. 90% was Chinese, and the rest was white. I was the only black person there. So I'm sitting and I'm soaking up game from the presentation, and I noticed every Fortune 500 company was there, representatives from every company you could think of, and they was all on stage doing presentations and talking about how they get into the blockchain and how they're getting into crypto and how their companies are investing into crypto. And this was 2017. So I'm listening, I'm like, wait, if these major corporations investing in crypto, talking about the blockchain, I need to be doing the same thing. So that's what really sold me. After that, I started doing more and more research, and I've been all in since then.
Can you talk a little bit about how, more established financial companies are starting to come to the table and, take digital currencies and virtual currencies, and does that signal anything to you guys in terms of having crypto be more established, valid, credentialed?
Yeah, I think traditional finance companies are a little bipolar in the way that they're presenting themselves, right? If you just watch the news headlines, one day they'll be like, this is trash, it's a scam, it's worth nothing. But then like he said, in 2017? 2017, every single major Fortune 100 company was there. The question you need to ask yourself is, why would they potentially say this, right? I think that an ex-Goldman Sachs executive came around and admitted that there is validity in an asset. And you have to remember, any asset gains or loses value based on the transaction of the people, right? So if it's an asset and there's a demand for it, then that means that companies, if you are a good business owner, forget what like industry you're in. If you're a good business owner, you're gonna follow where your clientele and customers are going. So the more and more that clientele and customers are asking for a more transparent way to transact money, the more and more you're gonna see finance companies, and companies period, following suit. I can tell you that from the lens that I work in, so with my initiative, we have almost 40 finance and fintech companies that are working with this initiative. Every single financial institution, at the very minimum, is leaning into fintech. They have to, because most of y'all ain't been into an actual bank probably in 3 years, right? You might have gone through the drive-through, but most of the transactions that you do are online or via your app or whatever. So the companies have to lean into fintech, and once they're there, it's very, very close proximity to figuring out how they can get into this crypto market. But they're a business, and so they're gonna do it in a way where they can capitalize on it. And so I would say one of the things to really look out for is regulation.
Okay.
Like, it's really important. So cryptocurrency is not regulated in the way that traditional finance companies are regulated. Now, every single fintech company is regulated by the SEC, so it's not like your money is just going out there and there's no oversight. But, I mean, politicians are people like you and me, right? And so in as much as we're learning more about cryptocurrency and NFTs, they're also learning more about cryptocurrencies and NFTs, and even more so because the average age of a politician is 68, right? So there's a learning curve that has to happen before there's regulation and true like government oversight. And that's what's gonna really, I don't wanna say that's gonna determine, but I will say that that's gonna heavily impact the direction that we're gonna see cryptocurrency go. The benefit, or I should say, yeah, the benefit of cryptocurrency is that it is a decentralized asset. Like it's a worldwide global asset. So you can only really kind of regulate it in your own jurisdiction, kinda, right? Because no one owns it, right? It's not backed by a mint, it's not backed by any one specific government. So there's really not a true way for it to be governed, but it is a conversation that I think is important for us to make sure that we're staying on top of.
And I really like something you said when you talk about these institutions getting involved. At the end of the day, they're a business. So with that being said, in this capitalist society, they want the most. And you have coins like Bitcoin, where there's only 21 million Bitcoin that'll ever be created. You think they don't want all of them if they can get them? So a part of their strategy, in my opinion, why you see them sometimes they'll talk down on it, then out the blue they'll come back and be like, oh, we're looking into crypto, is because I think they have a greedy mentality. I think they want to acquire as much as they can before it becomes extremely popular to the masses. So that's just my opinion. So, but with that being said, I think as an investor, you got to be able to understand that, see through that, and still have diamond hands, as they call it. Don't get shooken out.
You just kind of made me think of something. So are there any investments or coins or cryptocurrencies that you guys are like, okay, I'm going to kind of, ride this wave?
I'm not a financial advisor, so I do not get because y'all gonna go out and buy it and then crash. You're gonna be like, Michelle and Xavier said.
Facts. I always
Legal disclaimer accepted.
You gotta say disclaimer, because this is one of those questions where people will actually
Just curious.
Yeah.
they'll go out and make a purchase and ain't no guarantees. It could completely go south, and they'll be like, Xavier said, I'm gonna whoop his ass when I see him. Types. So like you gotta be careful. But to answer your question,
You don't have to. I was just curious.
I'll answer.
Okay.
This is disclaimer. It could go south. It could completely go wrong. I'm letting y'all know this could completely go wrong.
You could lose all your money tomorrow.
Right, you could lose all your money. But you said so coins that I am investing in.
Yeah, or just trends or currencies that you're like, okay, this is not as much of a scam as the other one or something.
Okay, so I'm a fan of a coin called Loopring, LRC. Loopring, that's one coin. Polygon, that's another coin we was talking about earlier. Obviously, Ethereum. I'm pretty sure everybody in here know what Ethereum is. I'm a huge, huge fan of Ethereum. But like I said, all this stuff could go south.
Michelle laid it out. This is a risky.
It's a risk.
Yeah.
So don't go putting all your eggs in one basket, then come running up on me. I'm just answering the question.
When we were talking earlier, Xavier, you were talking about, a lot of your clients use investing platforms like Robinhood or Betterment, things like that. Can you talk about people adding diversification to their investment portfolios using tools like Robinhood or Betterment or SoFi and cryptocurrencies?
So I'm glad you asked. I'll say this. I'm not a fan of Robinhood. I'll get that straight. I'll say that. Right. I'll say that. And the reason I'm not a fan of Robinhood specifically when it comes to crypto, because the whole purpose of crypto is for control. And with Robinhood, you can't take your cryptocurrency off their platform. When you buy on Robinhood, it has to stay on Robinhood. But I've read that
Repeat that.
When you buy cryptocurrency on Robinhood, it has to stay on Robinhood. You can't take your cryptocurrency off of their platform. But I was reading some information that's saying they're trying to change that, but as of right now, they're still that way. So that's why I'm not a fan of Robinhood, because like I said, crypto is all about control. I want to control my money. If I can't take my money off the platform, do I truly control it? So that's why I'm not a fan of Robinhood. But as far as what was the question again? I forgot.
Just like getting started and just adding diversification to your investment portfolios.
Okay. Oh yeah, diversification is everything. Like they always say, don't put all your eggs in one basket. So as far as
getting started, like initially in investing.
Like as far as platforms.
Yes.
Okay. So platforms you can use, and these are platforms that pretty simple. If you got a smartphone. You got platforms like Coinbase, Binance, Coinbase Pro. What else we got? Gemini, Kraken. What else we got? I know y'all know some names. Crypto.com. These are like the most. What'd you say? KuCoin. Right, KuCoin is another one. These are all fairly simple platforms that even Cash App. I wouldn't say you should go in there and buy crypto, but Cash App is an extremely easy place to go buy cryptocurrencies. So it's super easy. If you have a smartphone, it's extremely easy to buy cryptocurrency today. I remember when I first got into it, it wasn't this easy. You have to go through loopholes to own a coin. So it's not the same anymore. It's very easy.
Yeah. Agree with everything. I do want to double click on the whole Robinhood thing.
Please.
So what he means by control is so I said earlier, every single cryptocurrency is embedded with an encryption key, your own private key that shows that you own that specific asset, right? It's like the deed to a house. It shows that this is yours, this belongs to you. Robinhood does not give you your deed. They do not give you the deed to your house. So whenever you purchase it, they're basically saying like you can basically borrow against the asset that we own, and the only thing that you can do is take your money out, but you can't actually control it. And a use case to controlling it is a big part of decentralized finance means that you can be your own essentially bank. So there are platforms where you can actually take your cryptocurrency and put it in a place where people can lend against it like a bank would, right? So you can say you have $10,000 worth of Ethereum, you're gonna put it on this platform, and somebody can come in and say, I wanna take out a loan against your Ethereum like you would in a bank, right? I wanna take out a loan against the billions of dollars you have in this bank, give me access to this money, and then you own interest off of the cryptocurrency that you then put on specific platforms. You can't do that with Robinhood. So there's a lot of different ways that you can use your cryptocurrency because it's an asset. Like, it's not just about putting it there and getting money out of it. There's a lot of different ways where you can actually build your wealth utilizing it in really dynamic ways. And Robinhood doesn't give you the ability to do that.
No, please.
I know.
There's a platform called Aave that is AAVE, I believe is how it's spelled, that allows you to do that. There's a couple other, what I'll do is I will get a list and I'll get it to Ben and he can send it out. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we have about 5 more minutes left on the panel conversation before we open it up to questions from the audience. So thank you so much for starting that. But I wanted to pose this question. That was seriously no shade at all, I promise. I wanted to pose this next question to you, Michelle, because you talked about, opportunities, career, whether they be on the career side or the investing side for women of color. Can you talk about what you see as far as opportunities in cryptocurrencies, whether they be career or financially investing?
So my specific lens is careers in fintech, but I will say, for those of you who know my background, I used to run the Dallas Entrepreneur Center in Oak Cliff, right? So I have a big heart for entrepreneurs. Cryptocurrency is a $318 billion industry, I think the last that I saw, with a projected growth of 25% within the next 2 to 3 years, right? That's a huge, huge, huge market to innovate in. So there's a lot of opportunities for entrepreneurship, for innovation within that specific market. From a career standpoint, so I work for an organization, again, Apex Fintech Solutions and Peak 6, which is our parent company, started Fintech in Action, which is the initiative that I run in the summer of 2020, when every single company was doing their, we're gonna put up our black square because Black Lives Matter. They were like, yeah, we want to actually see how we're perpetuating harm within the industry. Oh, by the way, we have no black people working for us. We should probably start there. So they hired me on to run this initiative. We currently have in one company 178 jobs open, right? That's one company. I have 38 companies that I oversee. Your skills are transferable. If fintech is a new industry, you don't need to know finance and you don't need to know tech. Right? It's a business like anything else. So if you have marketing skills, customer service skills, if you have any type of skill, whatever job you're currently doing, you can do that within the fintech industry. To give you a good metric or a good measuring stick. So right now I'm recruiting interns for an internship program. So if you have any college students, please send them my way. mwilliams@fintechinaction.com. I have paid internships for these students. We start I'm not supposed to say this, so,
Exclusive.
Don't pub this on the social medias. But the average pay for our interns are between $25 and $30 an hour, right? We also give them, some companies give them sign-on bonuses, some companies give them stock to trade with. Last year we gave students $300 worth of stock in a Webull account. We invest deeply in these students to get them into these industries. And so if we're paying interns $30 an hour, imagine what entry level, like fresh out of college, is making. Okay, now imagine where you all are in your specific industries, what you could be making. I will say that I'm doing all right for myself with this transition. So I would say, there's a lot of opportunities. SoFi is hiring like crazy. Stash is hiring like crazy. Every single fintech company that I work with has at least 50, 60 jobs. Yeah, I like Stash too. Yeah.
So I'm going to pose this last question to you guys so you guys can kind of be thinking of your questions if you have any for the panel. But what has working in digital currencies, virtual currencies, taught you about our collective future? So just as you're looking ahead 5-10 years from now, whether it be your own professional experience or personal experience or outlook, what has working in cryptocurrencies and digital currencies enlightened you about where our future is going and how we need to prepare for it?
That's a good question. Was that question on the?
Yeah, kind of extended it. It could just be research. You can say like research.
I will say this. I do think that we're trending. One of the benefits of the internet is that we get to own a lot of information. We get to own a lot of, in the age of information, I feel like ignorance is a choice, right? Like everything is accessible to you. You can really research anything that you would like to find out. The question is do you have the time? Are you going to invest the time into researching? I feel like digital currency and working on this side of the world and seeing how much we're innovating around our money and around our we live in a capitalistic society, so around the bedrock of our country and the way that it runs, it's really shown me like we have positional power that we can use if we choose to leverage it in a way that is intentional.
I like that.
Right? So again, it's an asset that increases or decreases in value based on how many people are interacting with it, right? And so if there is a collective voice, especially around this conversation around decentralized finance, which I encourage you, I'll send this to, there's a really good podcast that was on Harvard, I think it was Harvard's podcast, that was explaining the benefits of decentralized finance and how you can demand essentially from your financial institutions more transparent transactions with you. So I guess I'm rambling, but it's taught me that there really is power in the collective making specific decisions. That's why you see, again, the cryptocurrency rising and falling.
Thank you, love that. Xavier, any parting thoughts in terms of your future?
Kind of back on what Michelle said. I'm just an investor in this space. I've been investing in this space for a while. But something I feel like, at least in my opinion, maybe just in my circle from what I'm seeing, I feel like our trajectory is going up as far as like a unit. Okay. More people are interested in investing. Just the fact that there's people here, that we got beginners here that's interested in this conversation, I think shows a lot, because I think 5-10 years ago, it would have been very hard to get anybody in these seats when it comes to investing in cryptocurrency and stuff like that. So the fact that we have more and more people that want to learn, that are investing,
that's a signal.
I think that's a signal that we're going in the right direction.
Great. Thank you, Xavier. Thank you, Michelle. Don't go anywhere.